why don't we start unpacking those? So let's unpack a little bit about how the Zen practice and your experience with that is contributing to your capacity, understanding of engagement with the we space. And then we can talk about eros and power and what bringing those elements into the we space
Well,
does. And then the cookbook is an offering for more people who want to keep developing in their we spaces.
yeah. Thank you. I have never talked about my Zen practice openly like this, so I'm taking a step, which is good, right? When we make daring moves into the we space can open up a little bit more. But it is a little bit scary. In fact, I've just come literally to the end of a 49-day dawn sitting every day with my own teacher here in Portland. And the question has been, since he invited me to teach, what does it mean to teach nowadays, right? I'm not trying to be a 13th century monk in black clothes who lives a celibate life, right? I'm a so-called householder. I'm a woman. And I'm very deeply engaged with issues of activism, but I'm a quiet activist, right? So what does that even mean? You know, for some Zen practitioners, it's all about just, ironically, the individual. But I think the underneath of my experience of all of that is we truly are not separate from anything in our lives. In fact, one way to know ourselves is to simply look around at the context that we're in. How do I find myself at this particular moment, right? And so the we space, if you will, to use this term, never entirely sure if I'm using it right. The we space, therefore, is reality. And the one who's all anxious and alone and separated, which is often how I certainly feel, I suspect all of us feel, is really a delusion of the mind, but it is a very, very, very deep delusion, because we are so, from the moment we're born, we're all about the ego has to develop, and its job is to protect us, right? Yeah. And we protect ourselves for many, many years by being separate and encouraging the separation. And then, through the language of Bill's developmental theory, we get that reinforced at expert and achiever level, which comes to us, I think, through education and professional endeavor. Unless we get out of that rat race, but then how to do it in a balanced way, because it's not like I want to run off and live in a cave, right? So how do I integrate, to come back to that question, how do I integrate the truth of we space with me as a self-reliant human being who understands it and who knows herself to be connected? So that's where meditation is just, it's probably not for everybody, but I think it is so important that we spend a good chunk in meditation kind of daily to know the truth of the we space, to know the truth of non-separation, which of course itself takes many, many years, right? It's, when we first sit down, all there is thought and separation and freaking out, right? So the fruits of practice begin to come a little slow by today's standards, or they've come slow for me. But I'm beginning to see those fruits now and wanting to share that at a time where I think anxiety is escalating. And maybe then one other thing to say, because meditation doesn't necessarily work for everybody. I have a teenage daughter, for instance, and she screams in horror, "No, Mom, no meditation." Because I also teach the teen program at our Zen center. And so, we do other things. Most of it is really about kindness for animals and others and so on. So practicing to be kind such that it becomes a natural reflex as part of the fruits of practice is equally important. Does that make sense It
does. And, kindness and silence are two different sort of orthogonal practices around this, like that do affect the we space. In fact, Bill and I were just talking about silence as part of the necessity for like a healthy we space is partly known by its capacity to be in silence,
Yes.
and for silence to emerge. And I think, of course, of Naomi Shihab Nai's beautiful poem, "For you know sorrow is the deepest thing, you must know kindness is the other deepest thing." So how much that also is a deep relational and spiritual practice, or can be, especially, and also kindness to oneself, as Pema Chodron would say. So
yes.
that seems deeply, those capacities that we're building to enhance the mutuality between us seem very important, because if we can't practice that with one another, then what kind of spaces are we creating for one another?
Beautiful. Yes.